Hey guys, I'm April from Giggle Glitter Graphics, and today I am working on the inside of my cover for my Boho journal. I've got several pieces of paper picked out for the inside of this cover. This is a very long cover. This is a double flip cover, so it takes quite a bit of paper to fill the entire inside. So I'm going to do the right hand side with this Bohemian watercolor texture. I grabbed one of my watercolor flower journal papers for the spine. This one is printed on I think it's 110-pound cardstock. It's the cardstock listed in my description. I think it's way towards the bottom with the printer and paper information. So that's on cardstock because my signatures are going to attach right here. And then this is just a piece of really thin copy paper that I coffee dyed, and I'm going to use that all the way over here just to fill in the space on the right hand side after my journal signature pieces go in. So to start off, I made myself a template to lay out the holes in the spine in the cardstock to attach my signatures. I have 5 signatures and I've got those reach across right here. Each one has about 6 pages. They're clipped right now, they're clipped together, and I've already punched 3 holes in each one. There's a variety of coffee paper, dyed paper, just some packing paper, and then the decorative papers from the Bohemian journal kit and some of the Bohemian watercolor papers that come from the same set as this one. That's varied throughout these 5 signatures. So those are going to be attached to this spine, and then this will glue in, and that makes a hidden spine so the strings are not on the outside of the journal. Now if you watched the first video, you know that when I made this cover, it flips in this way and then it flips in this way, and that is my cover. Because I wanted to leave some space right here so that I could add a bunch of things into this pocket, maybe some things on the inside cover, this spine is 2.5 inches here, but this spine is under that. I made it about 1/4 inch smaller. Let me see if I can find my ruler. I just kind of eyeballed it and made it smaller. But that means that my signatures need to take up this much space, not this much space. If I spread them out all the way through the 2.5 inches, they are going to run into this fold over. So I need to make them based off of this smaller section and then keep them all the way to the right so that they lay down nicely on the back, and there's a little space between where the signatures end and the cover that's going to be over top of them. Hopefully that made sense. So do the skinny one, not the fat one, if you are creating a similar type of cover with that extra space built in so that you can put things in here. So I used graph paper to make my template. I made it grab one of these, the same height as the actual digital papers. Those are what I want to center up in this book. So it's the height of the papers. It's also the same height as this piece of cardstock I'm going to attach to. It all matches up. And the width is the width of this smaller spine. I like to use graph paper because it's easy to distribute the signatures evenly. I just kind of fold this up, let's see, fold, so 3 folds. Then I unfold it, and I use the folds at the far end and the fold in the middle as my guideline for my 3-hole pamphlet stitch. If you're doing a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, then you'll have to kind of find the center in between those. But this is for 3-hole, so this works best for me. And then I make marks all the way across evenly for however many signatures that I have. So I start off the center one, and then I place the others accordingly if there's an odd number, which there is in this case. So I've taken this template already, I folded it in half, and I grabbed my little awl tool and put it right inside these signatures that I've clipped together, right like this. And then I just use that as a guide to poke my holes all the way through. And I've done that already on all 5 signatures. I then took my template And I got my pre-crease. This piece is gonna go in here. So I've already folded it so that it is going to fit. And I just used some little binder clips and I clipped this. I was very careful with it. I clipped this all the way to the right because again, we want to leave some space at the top. It'll be the top when it's closed. We want the extra space here to accommodate for this fold over. So it's clipped all the way to the right. And then I grabbed, this is just some cardboard that I've glued together. And then I just went through and stabbed straight down into all of these to get all of my little holes to put my signatures into. So that's just a quick overview of that, so that if you haven't done it, you can kind of do that for yourself, and also how to get the spacing right with this kind of a cover. If you've made your spines identical, then it won't matter as much, but since my spine is a little smaller and I've got some other things going on, I needed to account for that when I put these in. So the next step for me is going to be to sew these signatures onto my spine, and then we can start adding all of these papers to the inside of the journal. So I'm going to sew these off camera because it takes a little bit. This is a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. There's lots of videos on YouTube for it. I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't done it before. And let me just whip this out and I will be right back and we'll start putting the insides into this journal. Okay, I've got all 5 signatures attached. You'll see I actually tore the spine just a little bit whenever I was putting my signatures together. So I put a little bit of tape over it. I think it's going to be okay. I'm not too worried about it. I'm also going to glue over that. It's a little funky in there, but all the pages seem to be turning okay. So I think if I just glue that when I put that in, that's gonna be all right. These journals are for me, I don't sell them. So a little bit of irregularity or maybe something happening down the road with that isn't too big of a deal. And I learn from things like that. So I'm not worried about it. So I'm gonna collect all my pieces here so that I can start putting things on the inside. And I'm going to work in layers. So my first layer is actually going to be this panel here. And let me slide this over. This panel here. Got this piece of coffee dyed copy paper and this Bohemian watercolor paper prints that I'm going to use. And then the signatures are going to glue in right here and just layer right over top of that. I think the most challenging part of this is going to be keeping it all relatively straight all the way across the whole length, but I figure if something gets kind of messed up, I will just cover it up with something else. That's what ribbon and trim is for. On the side, I am also going to add this double pocket. I took the other half of this coffee dyed paper. Here we go. See, I just trimmed it, put half on the left, and then I just folded this up and I'm gonna glue this in place here. And I was figuring that second spine is right here. So I thought it might be nice to be able to tuck a bookmark or something like that in, as well as some other things over here. So I'm gonna start off by gluing this panel into place. And I think I'm gonna try using my Boho glue stick. There we go. And let's just kind of go for it. Where's my scrap paper? I don't want to get glue all over the place. I think I'm gonna glue like a strip, like a wide section on the end here. Get some good coverage. Oops. And then I'm gonna position this and try to kind of line it up so it's nice and neat and straight. So let's see, let's pull this over. I'm gonna try to center it. I wanna see the stitching around the outside edge, at least the straight stitching. I'm not too worried about seeing the second row of zigzag stitching. And that's just gonna run right like that. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the rest of this in place. I'll just kind of work my way across. I'll get here to the, run around the edge, fill in the middle, lots of glue. Smooth it down with my bone folder and hopefully get a really nice even adhesion here. And then let's see, I'm going to want to crease this on the fold. Might be a little easier to do. I'm not really sure what order to do that in. Do I crease it and then put it in place? You know what, let me just glue it down. All right, let's glue it all down. All the way. Lots and lots of glue stick. This is paper to paper, so I'm pretty confident that the glue stick is gonna stick really well for me. If this were fabric to paper or some other material, I would have gone with the Fabri-Tac. So. All right. It's pretty good. Let's test this. This would go right here. Right, like, that's right. I had set this up so it would kind of end right at this spine here. Kind of working on this as I go along. I haven't quite done anything like this before, so I'm making it up as I go. And then the spine would go in there. And then the other piece. Slide this way. Line it up. There we go. I'm going to try to line this up before I stick it down. I'm not sure if it'll be if it'll be perfect, but we'll see. Stick a bunch of glue. So I lined it up and then I just held it in place with my fingers until I could get that first edge glued down. And now I'm going to do the rest of it. Might be a little crooked, but again, if things are off, I can always cover it up with trim if it doesn't look quite right. All right, so let's get this folded. Kind of push this in all the way. I don't want it to buckle when I fold it. It is buckling just a little bit. I should have maybe folded it before I glued it down. Let's see here. That's better. There's crease number 1. Let's go for crease number 2 here. No, I think that's working just fine. So gluing and then folding seems to be working okay. Make sure I'm in camera here. And then that's working pretty well. All right. So next I need to add this pocket, and this I am going to use Fabri-Tac for because I'm only going to go around the edges. Move my pages out of the way. So let's get this in the center of my workspace. And I'm going to go around the 3 sides just to make this pocket, and then I'll have to glue down the edges on that second flipped up pocket. Let's go here. I want to leave some of this pattern showing, and some of this is going to get covered up by the spine piece of the signatures on it. Glue that in, and we're gonna have to let this dry really good before I try to fold it, because I'm gonna want to add this crease in again. Everything has to be creased. It's popping up just a little bit. All right, and just gonna glue here. And hopefully that's mostly in camera right there. And tuck those down. This might leave a little bit of a lump underneath the cardstock. I'm hoping it won't be too bad. And I'm gonna let this dry for a minute before I go trying to fold it up. I don't want things to pop up as soon as I try to add the creases in. So the glue is pretty dry, and this does look like it's folding up pretty well. I have a tiny bit of buckling here. I'm not too worried about it. I think it's gonna sort itself out just fine. So the next step is to add in our signatures with our spine and the whole, the final piece. So let's do what we did last time, and let's start with our glue stick. And I'm gonna glue down. I'm not sure where to glue first. All right, let's do this. Glue this. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to lift this well. I have all those pages on top, so this is just a little bit awkward. Let's just glue this whole panel all the way from the crease. And then cross our fingers and hope this goes in okay. We're going to line this up near this crease, but not so close that it's going to cause it to not open properly. And let's center that up a little more if I can. I think I'm going to have to call that. Oh, we did get off track there. A little bit off, but it is not too bad. This folds really nicely. There's just a little bit of space from the crease. That's off just a titch. Same at the top on the other side, but I think that's as good as I can expect to get. I think if I try to do anything else, it's going to be too hard. So since I tore my cardstock, I'm actually going to put some Fabri-Tac down to hold this part, just because you're gonna have a lot more pull and push on this area, and I want to make sure that this all kind of sticks really well, and I don't want it oozing up through the holes. I was a little too generous, so I'm going to smear that along and make sure I get it on all the edges. It's very stringy. And let's stick that down, and hopefully this is going to fold up. I probably should have glued this part first. That would be my recommendation. Glue the spine part first. Let's check my crease. That is very good. This side is a little off, but I think I can fix that. I can just add some more crease. So I'm going to grab my bone folder and just push right in here and try to firm up that crease just a little bit and shift it over. There's a lot of wiggle room with this, and I'm not, again, not too worried about it. I'm never worried. And let's go with the glue stick again. Be really generous with it. Let's go on here too. Where's our scrap paper? Let's go right like that. Lots of glue stick. I think that came out pretty good. It's just a little bit shifted downward, but it's not bothering me too much. I could always add a little washi tape or trim or something at that top edge to kind of cover that up. I got tools flying everywhere here. Let's get a nice fold there. It's better to fold it when you have a little dampness from the glue, in my opinion, than trying to fold it after the glue has dried really well. All right, so now I've got my double fold onto the pocket And the inside of my journal is basically ready for me to start decorating. I hope you've been inspired by this video. I'm so excited with the way that this journal is coming together. I've got all of my folds the way I want them to be. And once I start stuffing this full of things, which you can see there's a ton of room in here for me to add more pages and thick things like buttons and giant rhinestones and all the stuff that I love so much. Lots of room to work with. I think I might add up some kind of pocket here on the front, but that is for another day. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I will continue working on this journal from start to finish, ending with a final flip through so you can see everything I end up putting inside of here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.